Ideals are like stars. You will not succeed in touching them with your hands. But, like the seafaring men on the desert of waters, you choose them as your guides, and following them reach your destiny. The holy passion of friendship is of so sweet and steady and loyal and enduring in nature that it will last through a whole lifetime, if not asked to lend money. Take a person's advice to make him feel good. All you have to do is ask it. The best bridge between despair and hope is a good night's sleep. The older you get, the more you realize that kindness is synonymous with happiness. Happiness makes up in height for what it lacks in length. Constant use will wear out anything, especially friends. Say you can't until you prove you can. Life is what happens to us while we are making other plans. Experience is not what happens to you. It is what you do with what happens to you. You are genuinely happy if you don't know why. Worry is like sand in an oyster. A little produces a pearl, too much kills the animal. People who complain that they don't get all they deserve should congratulate themselves. The most difficult thing in the world is to know how to do a thing and to watch somebody else doing it wrong, without comment. Worry never robs tomorrow of its sorrow. It only saps today of its strength. One good way to test your memory is to try to remember the things that worried you yesterday. If there is one thing I would teach a child, above all else, it is to be able to imagine himself into the flesh of other people, to realize his mother's weariness, his father's anxieties, his little brother's lonely fears, and to give of himself generously to ease their burdens. A child who has learned to be consistently generous will become a generous adult, much loved and therefore truly successful. There's no better exercise for strengthening the heart than reaching down and lifting people up. Kindness is one thing you can't give away. It always comes back. Morale is when your hands and feet keep on working when your head says it can't be done. Humor plays close to the big, hot fire, which is truth. Greed is envy with its sleeves rolled up. Real courage is when you know you're licked before you begin, but you begin anyway and see it through. No matter what. The greatest mistake you can make is to be continually fearing that you'll make one. Each generation imagines itself to be more intelligent than the one that went before it and wiser than the one that comes after it. We give them the love we can spare, the time we can spare. In return, dogs have given us their absolute all. It is without a doubt the best deal man has ever made. Intelligence is when you spot the flaw in your boss's reasoning. Wisdom is when you refrain from pointing it out. The most sincere compliment we can pay is attention. People is like burning down your own house to get rid of a rat. Let us endeavor so to live, that when we come to die, even the undertaker will be sorry. A problem is a chance for you to do your best. The most important thing that parents can teach their children is how to get along without them. What I do today is important because I am exchanging a day of my life for it. If you wish to make an apple pie truly from scratch, you must first invent the universe. You can't turn back the clock, but you can wind it up again. We spend the first part of our human experience avidly accumulating things and the other half wondering what in the world we're going to do with all the stuff. The best index to a person's character is how he treats people who can't do him any good, and b. how he treats people who can't fight back. Never tell people how to do things. Tell them what to do and they will surprise you with their ingenuity. If you want children to improve, let them overhear the nice things you say about them to others. To err is human. To refrain from laughing, humane. One of the lessons of history is that noting is often a good thing to do and always a clever thing to say. I would rather live in a world where my life is surrounded by mystery than live in a world so small one that my mind could comprehend it. I would rather sit on a pumpkin and have it all to myself than to be crowded on a velvet cushion. Morality is only moral when it is voluntary. A gossip is a person who creates the smoke in which other people assume there's fire. Having a young child explain something exciting he has seen is the finest example of communication you will ever hear or see. Living is the art of getting used to what we didn't expect. You can't have everything. Where would you put it? 108. Thinking is the hardest work there is, which is the probable reason why so few engage in it. No man who is in a hurry is quite civilized. You are only young once, after that you have to think up some other excuse. Nobody ever sees his own face in the glass. What he observes there is a compound, divided into three parts. One part himself as he really is, one part representing what he expects to see, and a third part, what he wishes to behold. 1080p. Nobody ever sees his own face in the glass. What he observes there is a compound, divided into three parts. One part himself as he really is, one part representing what he expects to see, and a third part, what he wishes to behold. To be without some of the things you want is an indispensable part of happiness. None are so brave as the anonymous. Don't worry makes a better motto when you add others. What on earth would a man do with himself if something did not stand in his way? A pessimist is one who makes difficulties out of his opportunities. An optimist is one who makes opportunities out of his difficulties. If your ship doesn't come in, swim out to it. Make it a rule of life never to regret and never to look back. Regret is an appalling waste of energy. You can't build on it. It's only good for wallowing. Thinking is the hardest work there is, which is the probable reason why so few engage in it. No man who is in a hurry is quite civilized. You are only young once. After that you have to think up some other excuse. To be without some of the things you want is an indispensable part of happiness. None are so brave as the anonymous. Don't worry makes a better motto when you add others. What on earth would a man do with himself if something did not stand in his way? A pessimist is one who makes difficulties out of his opportunities. An optimist is one who makes opportunities out of his difficulties. Make it a rule of life never to regret and never to look back. Regret is an appalling waste of energy. You can't build on it. It's only good for wallowing.
Please help subscribe my channel. Thank you.